How is it we started going to Dr. Wagner as opposed to going to a doctor at a hospital?
Well, I remember exactly what occurred. Many years ago, you were very little, Zach was very little. I had a sore back. It was a weekend, I remember it was a Saturday, and Zach's friend had a father who was a chiropractor, and Zach had mentioned it to me, and actually Mom had mentioned it to me also. And I thought, well, maybe we can call him up, tell him who we are, and see if he can help me. Well, sure enough, I called up Dr. Wagner. He was able to see me right away. I went over to his office, and he took care of me. He adjusted me. He put me on his chiropractic table, gave me whatever adjustments were necessary. He told me to take some supplements, and within 24 hours, I was feeling great. That's how we started with this guy.
I was amazed. I was really impressed with what Ed said at that time, because I remember you had the cartilage removed from your knees, and a medical doctor told you could never play tennis again. You're an avid tennis player. You've had very little problems since you've gone to Ed. He's really kept your knees up.
Well, Ed obviously knew what he was doing, and in so doing, he prescribed orthotics. I had never worn orthotics before, and he told me, as most people have one leg longer than the other, and he said orthotics can help balance that out. It saves wear and tear on your body, particularly your knees. I wish I had those things when I was very young.
You wear them too, don't you?
I wear them.
Yeah, the whole family got orthotics.
Oh, it's great.
They're the best.
It makes such a difference. And you know what else I appreciated about Ed? You asked when you were little, and Zach was little, I was so worried about the use of pesticides around the house. We used to have an exterminator come. And Ed was the one who said, you don't need to use those toxins around your babies. He gave me natural soap products to use, and actually, you use them now too.
Yes, I do.
The whole family has adopted that.
Well, you're right about the homeopathic stuff. Ed is big into that area. He doesn't like Western medicine per se. Doesn't like having people take drugs. For myself, he's often provided me with homeopathic remedies that have helped me get over whatever was bothering me. It could be a cold, it could be flu symptoms, it could be an ache I have in my knees. He always seems to have a remedy. So he's not just structural in terms of, like we were talking before, the knees. He's more than that.
I like that sign he has in his office that says chiropractic first, drugs second, and surgery third. I think that's so wise. And he's also really made me more aware about my diet, and you can attest to that too.
Definitely. He's big into natural ways of living and healing yourself through your healthy diet and herbs and stuff like that. And I actually remember this time, I remember the day that I was sold on Ed is when I walked into his office and he looked at me. I was having pains in my lower back. I was about 12, and I walked in there and he said, "Did you eat licorice on Saturday night?"
Isn't that funny?
And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Okay, the red dye is in your bloodstream and it's affecting your knees, which in turn is throwing off your lower back."
Amazing.
And I was just like, whoa. I mean, he literally sees into people's bodies. He understands the human makeup. He sees a different dimension of being, I feel, beyond physical, really. I mean, how did he know I was eating red licorice on Saturday night?
He's also a real healer. One time, do you remember that time I injured my hip in a yoga class? I was in such pain, and we were about to go on a trip the next day. He came to our house and treated me for about a half hour, just put that hip right back into line. So I was able to walk and sit on the airplane the next day.
You know, those comments you made about the licorice reminded me of something that occurred to me some years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this, but my knees. One of my knees was hurting me. Of course, I went to Ed, and he did whatever test he does, his chiropractic test, and he asked me if I ate a hot dog recently. It just so happens I had not eaten hot dogs probably for a couple of years. But the previous night, I went to Dodger Stadium, and I had a hot dog. Ed was able to figure out what I had eaten, because apparently it was the sodium in the hot dog that in turn affected some other part of my body. He knew it. And he also taught me something else about the body. If your knees are weak, which mine, as Mom indicated earlier, are because of my previous cartilage removal, when something goes wrong with your body, the weakest area of your body is going to receive the problem.
Have you noticed that?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, for example, my knee will hurt when something goes wrong or something's abnormal. And Ed picked up on the sodium from the hot dog. And he's done that to me in other areas too, in other times. He always knows what I've eaten.
I like
Always.
the fact that Ed makes me feel more empowered by teaching me things like that, because I feel I really have more control over my own health.
Yeah, definitely. He teaches you how to heal yourself and how to really learn about your body's symptoms and how it reacts to things. And then you can heal yourself.
Yes, well, he's a chiropractor and a nutritionist, and he combines the two. And regular medicine, Western medicine, doesn't really do that often. But he does, and that's why we go to him.
Yeah.
Because you originally asked, why do we go to Ed? We go to him because he takes care of everything. He's able to take care of everything. And if something is such that he can't handle it, it's really something that the chiropractor wouldn't handle, he would tell you, go somewhere else. But by and large, for the daily ailments that we have, Ed's great.
I agree. I'm so grateful.
Me too.
I'm so glad
I am
that
too.
we've
And I
gone
hope
to
Ed
him.
now understands we're going to get free treatments for 3 years.